Welcome back to the Huddle, and as you can see, joining us now is the defensive madman, Claude Davis. Claude, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, you had 7 tackles, 2 for a loss, and 3 hurries against Emporia State Saturday. What do you think of your performance and then the defense's performance as a whole?
Well, I think we had a lot of mistakes. We haven't gelled yet, as a unit, but I think we played pretty good for a first game. We all been anticipating this game Saturday. We all came together. We was ready to play. We just had our eyes open up, we just went wild. We just need to settle down and come up this week.
That sounds good.
Claude, I've heard from people that went to the game on Saturday. They said you were like a madman. Nobody could block you.
He was.
Were you like in a vision, or tell me how'd you get prepared for this week's game?
But really, man, Monday I was prepared Monday. I set a goal for myself that Saturday night to go out there and accomplish something. That's what I was trying to accomplish. I didn't accomplish it, but I think I did good. As
you can do it.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And let me ask you about this. Joe Jacobs, number 10 for their team. He's a great quarterback. It seemed to me like he could really scramble in the open field. He threw a bunch of great passes. Did he become a threat, and actually did he start to worry you guys towards the end?
Yeah, he was a great player. I take nothing away from him. At times he had me frustrated, when you're trying to chase somebody that scrambles like that, and plus you fight against soft ground too.
Yeah.
It just made it even that much harder.
Well, they did have an extra week to prepare. That offense did. They had the week before that we had an off week. Do you think that made a big difference as far as how many yards they did accumulate and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that had a lot, to do with it. They had a game. They kind of came together during that week.
Right.
And, we just came out there just
fresh.
Yeah, and just wild. We ain't come together yet as a unit.
But you were ready to bust somebody's head, weren't you?
Oh, that's every Saturday.
So Claude, I've got to ask you about. I know there was a time in the game when there was a fumble. And you got your hands
yeah. You thought
and you were going to take it for 6, but you kind of got away from you. Tell us about that.
Well, I seen it when I came around the edge. I seen the ball just laying there. Nobody was going for it, and I picked it up. And when I started to run, I looked down there and I seen, that's a long ways to go.
Well, in that sense, it's a good thing you fumbled. That was crazy. You had like 13 fumbles in that one play, but for just a second, I thought you were going to rumble and stumble all the way for 6, bro.
I was going to go as far as I can until I looked for somebody smaller and quicker.
Well, let's talk a little bit about last season. You had an outstanding freshman year last season. You had so much articles written about you, and all the talk was about you. Do you think that built up pressure for this season for you to do just as well?
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. People are going to come after me a little harder, and the team, for the things we accomplished last year, it's just going to have to make us work that much harder to, to accomplish things we need to accomplish like we did last year.
Great. Claude, I don't want to bring up more stuff from last year, but we know y'all lost BC, you lost Johnny Luter, you lost a lot of leaders. How are you going on this year to stepping up and being such a great defense as you were last year?
Well, basically, we had a lot of individuals, great individuals like Johnny Luter, BC. This year, we're going to have to come together stronger as a unit, to accomplish things that they did, to make up for the loss we had.
Well, no one gets, in practice or in game time, no one gets a better look at your own offense than the defense does. So how do you think our offense is coming around? Brett Manning, do you think he's going to come around and be an awesome player like Conduct was? And how do you think the offense is coming around at this point with just one game down?
I'll tell you the truth, I think they did very well. They moved the ball. The first couple times they had it, it came down the field, with less mistakes they had. And I think this next game Saturday, they'll do a lot better, with the things they did this Saturday.
Okay.
We don't have Reggie on the show, but I have to talk to you about Reggie. Before he was pulled out in the third quarter, what was it, 208 yards, 3 touchdowns?
200 and a bunch, I know.
Yeah, it was a lot of yards. But what did you think about Reggie? Tell me about Reggie.
I'll tell you like this, I sure hate to be one line up taking one of those licks he put on. I
bet you've taken a few in practice, though. Can that guy hit, or you kind of own him?
Yeah, I own Reggie. It's for him.
Well, let's talk a little about Angelo State. We have our first home game this Saturday. What do you think going into this game? Are you pretty confident? Is the team confident after that first win?
Yeah, but, I think Angelo's a lot better team than this, I think we're going to be ready because it's first home game. We got families coming down. We haven't really seen much on them, but I know we'll be ready because it's going to be one of those games that we have to win to keep going from last year.
All right, that sounds great, Claude. Well, that's all the time we have this evening. I'd like to thank Claude Davis for joining us on the show. For Josh Moore, I'm Aaron Peters saying good night. Watch us next week on The Huddle.